Years of hard work and training went into this. We are ready now to take on the Elite Four. I've left my beard in the hyperbolic time chamber because took fucking forever to get up to this level, and even so, I'm not that high leveled. Everybody's level 45. I spent all the TMs that I wanted to spend on my team right now. The highest level we're going to be taking on today is level 50, so we're 5 levels below them. Usually that would be a Dragonite. Seeing as how it's probably not going to be a Dragonite, I feel rather comfortable going in with level 45 across the board. So let's go through this very quickly. Since we are only going to do the Elite Four and the Champion in this episode, I'm going to take a little bit of time and actually also show you the stats. So we have Gengar, Casper the Gengar, with Shadow Ball, Mean Look, Dream Eater and Nightshade, which has a special attack of 135, a very high speed, and then obviously just what Gengar usually has. Then we have Deus, the Quagsire, with Iron Tail, Surf, Whirlpool and Earthquake, which is mainly going to be our physical attacker for ground types. It's also fairly defensive, but other than that, it's kind of useless. So, Surf, I guess that's a thing. Then we obviously have Forks the Ho-Oh with Gust, Dragon Breath. Sacred Fire and Fly has great stats across the board, but mostly physical attack, which we're not going to be able to use. I just realized. All the time with Fly, maybe. I don't know. Fly's a physical type, right? Flying? Yeah. Then we have Tian the Machamp, which has Vital Throw, Strength, Cross Chop, and also Earthquake. A massive physical attack, and then also decent special defense, I suppose. Spaghetti the Tangela, which has Mega Drain, Cut, Sleep Powder, and Poison Powder. It's probably just going to be sitting back a lot until we run into Rhyhorn, Rhydon, Onyx, Graveler, Golem, Geodude. Most water types, as long as they're not also ice types. Mostly a defensive Pokemon, has a decent special attack, but not quite like up there. And now we've got the new team member here, Mary the Empress, with Thunder Punch, Thunder Shock, Light Screen, and Thunder Wave, with a very good special attack and a decent physical attack, and then like the other stats are alright as well. So having said all that, we're going to go in and take a look at my items before we go in, actually, because I'm going to want some healing items. I've got 12 super potions, a revive I can't use, 11 hyper potions, a nugget which I probably should sell. Can I buy normal ethers? I don't think you can buy ethers. But we've got a lot of money, so we're going to buy at least a couple of more hyper potions. Like, I think I had 11, so now I have 20. That should be enough. Let's buy like 5 full restores, which that averages 1 full restore a battle. I think that's fair enough. Never mind. Let's sell the nugget, and then we have enough room, in theory, to get the full restores. Do we? I don't know if this is like... I think every bag slot is counted individually. Not counted individually, right? Is it? Do I need to get rid of a healing item? Oh, wait a second. Healing items are separate in this generation. That makes a lot of sense. I'm never going to use Axe Special either. So you don't get any money for that whatsoever, do you? 175. That is ridiculous. Anyway, full restore. I'm going to buy 5 of them. 1 for every fight on average. I think that is fair. And without further ado, let's go into... not the final challenge of the game. I don't know why I'm hyping this up so much. We still got like an entire second region to go, and then the fight against Red. So, welcome to Pokemon League. La, 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 la. We just want to fight you. You're going to be a pushover. Your highest level Pokemon is like level 42, I want to say. I'm going to be higher level than the first 2, I think. Then the third is going to be roughly on par with me. The fourth Elite Four members are going to be slightly higher, and then the champion is going to be entirely higher level than I am, I think. Starting with an Execute, which is a grass and psychic type, so Casper is going to annihilate you with a Shadow Ball. I'm very sorry. There's no way you're surviving this. I'm 5 levels higher. I just showed you how ridiculous my special attack stat is. There's no way you survive that, right? You're also an Execute. Then going into a Pikachu. We're doing Look, if we're going to do this, I want a little bit of drama here. I decided to stop at level 45 rather than 47, which is the lowest level the champion uses, I think, or the highest level the 4th Elite Four member uses. One or the other, maybe both. I decided to stop at 45, which is lower than that, for 2 reasons. I was fucking done grinding because all the Pokemon that were good grinding before are now too low level, so those routes don't really work for me anymore. But the Pokemon on the newer routes here got randomized into things that just don't give a lot of experience. So the grinding took fucking forever. And that's the first time in this entire series, at least in this generation. But I'm inclined to say this entire series where grinding actually took quite a bit of time. So I was kind of just done with doing the grinding there. But I was also like, you know what, it'll give a little bit of drama to the series. I've complained a lot about things not dying. And while Crosstalk is only for emergencies. While on one hand side, I don't really mind nothing dying because that means we're doing well. Having like the chance of something dying is really nice because that creates drama and excitement. So going in a little bit under leveled seems fair enough. I did check with some people's about the whole thing with what I did in the Pokemon X randomizer on Nuzlocke, where I guess this is Spaghetti's moment to shine. Where every major fights or rival fights, gym fights, I think Team Flare admin fights as well, had 6 Pokemon each, all with max IVs across the board. If that were possible for early generations as well, it does not seem like that is possible. There might be like ways we can go about doing that, but as of right now, that does not seem to be entirely possible, and fuck you for your max potion. But I still do want to look into the possibility of doing that for Gen 3, 4, 5 as well, in whatever way possible, because otherwise this becomes entirely too easy. And if we're going to do that, obviously I'm not going to keep under-leveling. I'm going to be a little bit higher in the levels for those fights, because obviously we know what happened in the Pokemon X randomizer Nuzlocke, and I don't remember what actually happened. I was gonna say it was Heatran, but I think Heatran was the series before that, wasn't it? I did not check what Pokemon you're gonna send out. Let's go into Deus. Oh, it's another Porygon. You have 2 Porygons? Huh. That is interesting. That's also your last Pokemon. So we're already through the first member of the Elite Four. Granted, it's going to get more difficult as we go along, obviously, but that took like 4 minutes. And there's only 5 fights, which actually, with the amount of time I wasted at the beginning of the episode, might end up making for a 30-minute episode. I was expecting this episode to be a little bit shorter. Maybe it won't be. I don't know. I also did download a idle game today on my phone, and I'll put it up here. I don't know if you can see it very well. Oh yeah, you can. That's kind of in focus. It's kind of like a mobile version of Factorio, is how I would like to describe this. It really, like, it is not the same quality, and it really does make me want to buy Factorio, because I apparently don't own that game yet. I could swear that I do. I do own Big Pharma though, which is pretty much like the same game, or the same genre anyway, but for making medicine rather than making like electrical equipment and stuff. Which, for some reason, that turns me off to it a little bit. I don't know, it's the same game mechanics, more or less, right? But it's making medicine, it's less interesting to me than making circuit boards and making like trains and stuff. So I also found a game that is about specifically like making an assembly line for cars. Again, not as interesting to me. Basically the same game, just not as interesting to me. So I'm probably going to, like, in the next Steam like big sale, which will probably be, it might just be the summer sale at this point. Maybe they'll do a spring sale. Maybe they will. I might pick up Factorio because if I'm still into it that much. This game definitely is like more of an idle game than it is a assembly line design game. But it's just very satisfying to watch and to like build and to make things as compact as possible. As you could see right there, I'll just pull it back up real quickly for you to be able to see. This is like pretty compact. Like it can't get more compact than this with the stuff I'm making, I don't think. Maybe it could, because I am only using one conveyor belt. The rest of them is machines straight into other machines. Very space efficient. And that's kind of like the thing I like to do. And I talked about this in, I don't know, I think I talked about this in, did that say Mantine or Magnemite? Because that really does influence my decision on what I'm going to send out. I'm going to go ahead and say it's Mantine. It is! Okay. I talked about this, I think, in Mario, where I'm really like susceptible to like number games, right? And that's kind of what idle games are. Clicker Heroes, I've got like 700 hours in that. Most of that is idling, obviously, just having the game open and like getting them points and then just like redoing and getting perks, and I've got like 700 hours in that game. Especially, most of that honestly was collected through it being, wait a second, that said Jinx, didn't it? So let's go into Forks. Most of that is collected through, I was playing that while I was doing an internship at playing that, like 2 years ago at this point. Is it two? Has it been 2 years? I think it's been 2 years almost at this point. That's wild. Where while doing the editing on videos and stuff, and I wasn't the only one, like everyone there, other than like the owners of the company, was doing this. Everybody just had a, fuck you, had Clicker Heroes open and just idling, and then between like, okay, so now this needs to like, I don't know, you need to stabilize a shot or something, and it takes like a little while because it needs to analyze all the frames and stuff. So you click over to the game a little bit and you're like, oh, okay, I can buy some new heroes and stuff, and oh, it's not analyzing, I can continue working. So it's a nice little distraction, and it's like, you can go back to it and see, oh, the numbers have risen quite a lot, and that's very satisfactory. I'm very susceptible to that. So I have about 750 actually hours in Clicker Heroes, and these kind of games I really do like. Before it was a very big genre, you had Cookie Clicker, which was a browser-based game. I have a lot of time in that as well. I actually own Clicker Heroes 2, which is another free game. That's actually a game you need to buy, goddammit. But as a result, there's not as many or any microtransactions in it, I don't think. So that is alright. You have a Magikarp as your last Pokemon. You have a Magikarp as your last Pokemon. Honestly, you don't deserve to live. Wait, you outspeed me? With a... What? How? I mean, I know Mary is a fairly slow Pokemon, but it's a Magikarp for fuck's sake. Okay, that's the second Elite Four member down. There we go. So yeah, maybe if I pick up Factorio, I'll like play it on stream a little bit, depending on multiple different factors. Man, I just realized I have a story I haven't told on video yet. I talked about this in Discord, not even my own Discord. I talked about this in the Team Caterpie Discord, I think. Which, fun time, fun place to be. But I was grocery shopping the other day. I just needed to get, I don't even remember what I needed to go get, honestly. I think I just like needed a loaf of bread and some other like basic shit. And I was at a cash registry, right? I never can say that word properly. It's like, it kind of feels like my tongue just tumbled around in my mouth, and hopefully the right sounds come out. So, but I was standing behind this dude who was obviously like coked out of his mind. And which was friendly because like just the day before, and actually the day before that as well, in that Discord server, which is why I talked about it in there, we were talking about like using well, not using, but the legality of drug use, right? Because obviously if you get caught in certain parts of America, or like other countries as well, but like America is a very big example of that, because some states, not all states, some states are way more like lenient with it than others, but some states, if you're like caught with it as much as like just you have something on you, you are in big trouble. And even though this like might sound not very fun, it also is kind of dependent on the color of your skin, sadly. Which I didn't make that up. It literally is. If you get caught as a white dude with weed, the cops probably will be like, yeah, you shouldn't do that. If you get caught as a black dude with weed, you are much more in trouble, statistically speaking. Anecdotal evidence can sway you one way or the other. Statistically speaking, if you get caught and you are darker colored skin, you are more likely to be absolutely fucked, which is horrible. Anyway, technically speaking, most of the drugs over here, they're also illegal, but cops don't really give a shit. It's like, you can actually withdraw? Okay. Obviously, well, I don't want to say weed is illegal here, because it really isn't, but it's like, it's a complicated system, because it's legal to buy, illegal to sell, I think. Unless you have a permit. But then... okay, so the shops that do sell it, there's like specific shops, you don't get it at the grocery store like you can a can of beer. Like, legally speaking, they can sell it because they have permits. But they also get that stuff from somewhere. And theoretically speaking, you'd say, oh, they grow it themselves, but the amount of stuff they sell on like a daily basis, you're allowed to have like three plants, I think. You can't supply with 3 plants that many people. So they buy it from like drug dealers and like people who like grow that stuff, right? So those people are selling it illegally to those shops, and those shops are then selling it legally to the people who want to use it. But that's the exception. We are known for like having legal weed. It's not even like not fully legal. Canada has more legal weed than we do now, which is a weird fucking feeling to have. But then that doesn't mean that all drugs are legal here by like a long shot. Like pretty much everything else, technically speaking, not legal. And as far as I know, you're not allowed to like even like have it on you. I don't think you can get in trouble for having it on you though. It's one of those things that where the police, as long as it's under a certain weight, can confiscate it, but they can't arrest you for it. Let's pay attention here. So when we were talking, like, I honestly think that they should just like legalize everything. That's not to say, okay, decriminalize everything. Which is a subtle difference. Actually, no, I'm gonna go for legalize because they can tax the shit out of it. Because if you keep everything, if you want to keep everything at the same price it is now, a lot of the things, also PGs, don't make me laugh. A lot of the shit if you want to buy it now, it's expensive because it's sold by criminals and they're like, it's a risk factor selling this stuff, so it's expensive. That's what crime does, it makes stuff expensive. So if you legalize it, the price will fucking tank. Also, the more suspects, like, not as like good for you. None of it is good for you, but like sometimes less trustworthy people mix in very bad stuff for you. Like I've heard that some people will like mix in powdered lead into not even like a specific kind of drug, just like with most stuff, because lead obviously is very heavy, but if it's just a little bit by volume, you don't really notice it with like your eye or whatever. So it increases the weight, and as such, adding a little bit of lead in there increases the profits, which then gets your clients lead poisoning. So you're just killing your clientele at that point, which is fucking stupid. Anyway, but yeah, so there can be more control over exactly why exactly. Oh, I'm switching out into melee. Yeah. But then the price will tank because it's not a crime anymore to sell it. So then you can tax the shit out of it, keep the prices at the same point, and all the taxes that you get from that will fix a lot of the problems in like not having enough money for the state. You can, any like problems that may arise with addiction, you've got all the funds you need to fix that. And as a matter of fact, I think if it's more regulated, there will probably be less addiction. That is purely hypothetical though. Anyway, so we were talking about that, and a couple of people agreed with me, and some people didn't seem to agree with me, which is fine. That's why you like share opinions and like have a civil argument, because you're allowed to disagree. And it was just a good discussion altogether. Then the next day, I end up in the store, standing behind somebody that's obviously on at least some levels of drugs. I'm guessing something cocaine-like, anyway. And even though I think, like, yeah, no, there's a... I feel like the stuff itself should be legalized because it's my body. I am allowed to decide what I destroy it with. Why the fuck do you say what I can put into my body? That doesn't make any goddamn sense. I think that was that the last Elite Four? That might have been the last Elite Four member. Let's heal up either way. Even though I do think that way about like drug legality, I did feel like quite uncomfortable standing behind him. Now, granted, in my defense, of all the drugs and like people and situations that it could have been, users of cocaine are known to be more aggressive because that's what the stuff does to you. One of the effects is that you do tend to be more aggressive when you use it a lot, anyway. And he was standing there. Okay, I should also explain something because I don't think you have this in America. Certain bottles, like soda bottles, when you get them, there is a little bit of a price on it, like 25 cents, which you pay for the bottle. When you return the bottle, you get that money back. So the actual soda, you buy like for €2.50. The actual soda is only $2.25, and then you've got 25 cents that's specifically for the bottle, which you get back when you return the bottle. And you get a little receipt for that. So usually people collect those bottles for like, let's switch out, for like a week or a month at a time, and then bring them all in, and then it's like, you've got a couple of euros back with the receipt. That receipt was the only thing he had. He didn't have any groceries at all. This also works for like beer bottles and stuff, by the way, not only plastic bottles. As a matter of fact, there's quite a lot of like return value in beer bottles, which might have been the thing he returned, to be honest. But at this point, I'm just judging. But that's the only thing he had, and he was like very restless, and he was fumbling around in his pocket, and I could hear a lot of like spare change, and he was clearly like scraping together money to go probably buy more stuff, right? And he was very like sniffy. He was sniffing a lot, and now I understand. It is winter time. People are walking around with colds all over the place. But he was very sniffy. So altogether I was like, yeah, you have a lot of signs of somebody that is addicted to cocaine and craving cocaine. And that's not a good combination. Usually those people, not very good thing to walk into those. Of course, this was in public, was a grocery store. It's not like he was asking me for money. So I didn't feel unsafe, just mildly uncomfortable. And then he like got the receipt, and he got the money, like it was like €2. Like, okay, good luck going to buy a drug for €2. I don't know what other change he had in his pocket, but he couldn't have had more than like 10, 15 euros in his pocket, assuming that all the coins in his pocket were €1 or €2. Why didn't I switch out? €1 or €2 pieces, which Sounds weird to you Americans, I know, but our coins go 1 cent and 2 cent, which we don't actually use in the Netherlands, but they are euro coins, which the rest of Europe pretty much all uses. Then 5 cents, 10 cents, 20 cents, 50 cents, €1, €2, and then we go into the bills from €5 onwards. So, the coins I heard, obviously I couldn't hear what kind of coins they were. They could have all been 1 and 2 euros, in which case he could have had up to like, depending on the amount of like sound I heard from him jiggling around the change in his pocket, it could have had up to like 30 euros in there if it were like only €2 pieces, which I very much doubt. So it's probably like 10 at most. He had, okay, so you're not gonna get like a lot from that, because depending on what he's addicted to, cocaine's very expensive. So I'm guessing he wasn't. It wasn't specifically cocaine. It probably was like a cheaper something, which had similar effects. I don't know like that much about this kind of stuff, right? I know a decent amount because I do live in the Netherlands, which I just said the stereotype of everything is legal here is not true. I mean, it is illegal, but that doesn't mean people care that it is illegal, by and large. So it is a fairly easy, I'd say, to get a good source of information about certain things here. And that is something I think America is very much lacking, is I'd almost say, like, I don't want to say, like, blown up, propagated information about it being so bad, because I do think it's very important to warn people about what certain things can do to you. That being said, I also think it is important that people... Obviously, okay, we've talked about a lot of drug stuff. I'm gonna stop that now because it's weird. The last Pokemon in the Elite Four is a Magikarp. It's a fucking Magikarp. And even though I was 5 levels on the level with most of my team, I only had like 1 scare through the entire Elite Four plus champion. That's all. I don't know how to make this more challenging on myself. You can't tell me that being 5 levels underleveled for the champion fight is being too high leveled. But there's no way. You just cannot. This is just... There's no way that I'm going lower than 5 levels under. There's just... You can't make me. If that level 50 Pokemon had been a Mewtwo, I would have been in major trouble. That being said, I think Gengar might have been able to take care of it, honestly, with a Shadow Ball, because it's a fucking Gengar. Then again, if it hadn't, Gengar would have died, which would have been sad, but also, like, something would have happened at least. Right now, we just, like, talk for drugs about 20 minutes, about drugs for 20 minutes, while I was systematically just, like, murdering everything in my path, which... seems fitting because I was just talking about violence. It all comes full circle. So with that, we have defeated the Elite Four, and next time we can go into Kanto, which... Is this song supposed to play here? I feel like it's supposed to be a Hall of Fame song and not just Newbark Town. Right? This is... Why does Newbark Town play in the Hall of Fame? Is that like... Is that a glitch? Or did you just not have Hall of Fame music? I'm fairly certain that in Gen 1 you had Hall of Fame music. Here we go. You see, you have Hall of Fame music. Casper the Gengar leading the party. Then we've got... They use the Quagsire. We've done this at the beginning of the episode, but we're doing it again. Then we've got... Forks the Ho-Oh, new Hall of Famer. Oh, it actually shows you that you haven't been in the Hall of Fame before if you redo it. Huh. Tien the Machamp. Man, if I had to get a new mascot, he definitely wouldn't be it. Maybe it would be. I don't really like Machamp, but we've had a couple of Machamps now. So, Spaghetti, Tangela, by the way. and Mary the Emperor. Spaghetti has also been very prevalent since I came back. So Spaghetti and Tian and Bob. It's like the holy trinity of local games at this point. I just kicked something over. We're 167 hours and 33 minutes. That's what speedrun will do to you when you grind. Wow. Pokemon Crystal version staff. Yeah, this is the credits, but we're not done with the game yet. Next time, we'll be back. Going into Kanto, starting in... I guess we're starting in Viridian City? Or do we? No. We have to go through the train, don't we? So we end up in... Where does the train drop us off? Oh no! The first time you go... I think the first time you go to Kanto is through the Atlas Ant. So we start in Vermilion City? I don't exactly remember how to get to Kanto. I'll look that up. But next time we're going to Kanto and things will be very quick. I'm expecting like on average 2 gyms per episode. Because the gyms don't take that much time. There's no story to speak of whatsoever. There is some trainers on the routes between the gyms, I suppose. There's a lot of routes to capture Pokemon at. So maybe we'll not get 2 per episode. But there will be a couple of episodes where we at least get like 2 or so, maybe even 3 gyms. Then there might be episodes where we only do 1 gym. But I feel like altogether there's going to be like 5 or 6 more episodes in the series. Which, not in the series, in this generation. I mean, in this generation. There's going to be a lot more in the series. Because Kanto is very, very quick. It's literally just like sweeping through gyms and then grinding for the next gym. And getting some more encounters so that we can start Gen 3 with like a box and a half of Pokemon. And with that, I've talked through the entire credits. So I did not mean to do that. I just wanted to end the episode on this music. But seems like we're not doing that. So what we're instead doing is we're ending on this. See you all back next time in Kanto. Bye.